According to an NBA source, a Dejounte Murray trade to the New York Knicks is imminent as we are about 24 hours away from the NBA trade deadline. We're going to unpack those rumors on today's show. But first, I got to make sure everybody watching is subscribed to New York Knicks Now by Chat Sports. We're going to be live for pretty much the entire day tomorrow, breaking down all the moves that are happening across the association. And then we'll be live for a watch party against the Dallas Mavericks. So subscribe, turn your notifications on, and join us for our coverage live of the 2024 NBA trade deadline. Welcome into New York Knicks Now by Chat Sports. I am your host, Marshall Green. Appreciate everybody for taking time out of their busy schedules to rock and roll with us as we get you caught up on all the rumors that circulate around this basketball team. The NBA trade deadline is about 24 hours away, and the biggest question I get continuously asked is, will the Knicks make a trade? Well, we're going to try to break that down on today's show, as NBA sources are saying a Dejounte Murray trade from Atlanta to the Knicks is imminent. Tommy D, a guy that is well known on Knicks Twitter, he's pretty credible as a source, said this: hearing from multiple NBA sources that the Knicks are currently in very active talks to acquire Hawks guard Dejounte Murray. One source called the deal imminent. Stay tuned. He tweeted that out yesterday. A deal has not happened yet. Also, Bleacher Report and their NBA insiders, they wrote an article where they predicted that Murray will get traded to the Knicks. So we got Tommy D saying a trade is imminent. We got Bleacher Report predicting a trade will happen. But on the flip side, Stephen Bondy, who works for the New York Post, he put out an article yesterday saying that he thinks it is unlikely that the New York Knicks trade for Dejounte Murray. So we got conflicting reports up to this point. But I also want to go to what Bondy reported over the weekend, where he talked about how Rich Paul and Leon Rose, the head of CAA Mafia and the head of Clutch Sports, as we know, they had a beef. And then we know that Rich Paul did not want Clutch clients playing for the New York Knicks. Well, with the Los Angeles Lakers in town on Saturday, Leon Rose and Rich Paul, they sat down, and according to Bondy, they hashed out issues after Leon Rose and Rich Paul sit down, removing potential trade obstacles. So we got two sources in the NBA saying Atlanta Hawks guard Dejounte Murray is going to the Knicks. But we also have reports that Leon Rose and Rich Paul are cooling off on their beef. And as we know, Dejounte Murray is a Rich Paul client. He is repped by Clutch Sports. Did maybe this meeting spark the interest of the Knicks making a move for Dejounte Murray? I'll tell you what I think is going to happen at the NBA trade deadline. But first, I want to I just want you guys to weigh in, all the Knicks fans out there. Predict it for me. Will Dejounte Murray be traded to the New York Knicks when the trade deadline comes around tomorrow? Will it happen? Type Y for yes, type N for no. I kind of just want to say this. Nobody knows what is going to happen. And as we get closer and closer to the trade deadline, my rule of thumb is this: if it ain't from Woj and it ain't from Shams, you probably shouldn't believe it. Do we really think, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful here, do we really think a Dejounte Murray trade is going to be broken by anyone other than Shams Charania, who's in the pocket of Clutch Sports, or CAA Mafia head Adrian Wojnarowski? Do you think he is not going to report this deal? Let's listen to those two guys in this type of situation. To be honest with you, I do not think a Dejounte Murray trade to the New York Knicks is going to happen. There hasn't been all that much smoke around it. We know that the Atlanta Hawks are looking for a rotation player, preferably a starting level player, and 2 first-round picks. And the Knicks, they can get that done if they want to. The Knicks have the assets to get that done. They have a player that Atlanta is interested in. But there's just something, maybe it's the pessimistic Knicks fan in me telling me, Marshall, don't get your hopes up. But I actually do not think a Dejounte Murray trade is going to happen. I do think the Knicks might make a trade. I'm just not so sure if it's Murray, but let's act as if that is a possibility and may just happen. We know that the Atlanta Hawks want Quentin Grimes. You can go back to the Cam Reddish deal that happened 2 years ago. Atlanta was asking to get back Quentin Grimes in that deal. And when you think about Grimes, I think he would be a great shooting guard playing alongside a guy like Trae Young. We know Young's a ball-dominant player, and Grimes can be a really good catch-and-shoot three-point guy, and he's a really good defender as well. Grimes could be that starting-level player they want. And when you talk about draft picks, the New York Knicks have just about as much assets in that bucket as anyone across the NBA. Potentially 4 first-round picks in 2024, 2 first-round picks in 2025, 8 tradable first-round picks. The Hawks, they want 2. So if you trade 2, you still got 6 that are tradable, and you'll have 9 first-round picks in the next 7 years. Talk about the 4 first-round picks in 2024, though. They do own the rights to the Dallas Mavericks pick, which is top 10 protected. That is going to convey. This Detroit pick will not convey this year. It's top 18. Then it goes to 13th, 11, and then 9. So hopefully that conveys in the future. If not, will result in 2 second-round picks. And this Washington pick will not convey this year, maybe next year when it's top 10 or top 8 protected. You also have your own first-round picks. There's also rumors coming out that a lot of general managers across the league are not high on the 2024 NBA draft, and maybe they don't want to trade for picks in this upcoming draft. Well, what about a trade idea for Murray? What would it cost for Murray to go from Atlanta to the New York Knicks? I think this would be a rough estimate, and I personally think this might be enough to just get it done. Obviously, the Knicks, they get Murray. You give up Quentin Grimes, the starting level player that they want. You give them Fournier, an expiring $18.8 million in salary. Helps them get lower their bill for next year. They don't want to be a luxury tax team. We'll give you our unprotected first-round pick this year, and we'll give you the Milwaukee Bucks first-round pick that we own in 2025 that is top 4 protected. I want to hear from you, though. Would you make this trade? If you were Leon Rose, would you pull the trigger if Atlanta and Landry Fields said, you know what? This is what it would cost to get a deal done. If you would make the deal, type A for accept. If you would decline the deal, type D for decline. I'll tell you what I think and what I would do coming up. But first, I got to give a huge shout out to today's sponsor, Prize Picks. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use the promo code CLNS, and Prize Picks will match your first deposit up to $100. Prize Picks is daily fantasy sports made easy. You just create a lineup of 2 to 6 players, and you simply choose more or less on the projected stat line. My favorite part about Prize Picks is they always have awesome deals out there, and they're giving you a freebie for Super Bowl Sunday, lining up Patrick Mahomes at half a passing yards. Take the gimme. Give me the more on that. And then my 2 picks for Super Bowl Sunday. I think Isaiah Pacheco is going to get into the end zone, whether that's a rushing or receiving touchdown. So I'll take more than half a total touchdown for him. I think Christian McCaffrey, he's going to be a factor in the run game, but I also think Kyle Shanahan will use him in the passing game, so I'll go with more on his receiving yards. You can roll with my picks. You could fade my picks. Do what you want. But I kindly ask that if you are going to play daily fantasy sports, you do it with our proud sponsor, Prize Picks, the #1 daily fantasy sports app in North America. That is prizepicks.com/CLNS. And if you use the promo code CLNS, Prize Picks will match your initial deposit up to $100. I'll make sure all that information is clickable down in the comments and description of today's show. Going back to that trade, that would send Grimes, Fournier, and 2 first-round picks to the Atlanta Hawks. I would absolutely accept that deal. If the Knicks could have a starting lineup of Jalen Brunson, Dejounte Murray, OG Anunoby, Julius Randle, Isaiah Hartenstein, I believe that is a starting 5 that no team in the Eastern Conference would want to play. I think you're better equipped to beat a team like the Boston Celtics. I think you would be favorites in a series over the Milwaukee Bucks. The 76ers are cooked as Joel Embiid is undergoing knee surgery yet again. The Cleveland Cavaliers, they cannot beat this team. You always will have a good point guard on the floor. I would go as far as to say you will have 48 minutes of great point guard play between Brunson and Murray. We know that when Brunson has been out of the game, Murray is the Knicks offense has struggled, and Murray, he can help solidify that second unit. And you would still have a really good bench unit. With Miles McBride playing occasionally, I would hate to move Dante DiVincenzo to the bench. We'll talk about Chenzo coming up, but you still got Josh Hart, you still got Precious Achiuwa, and Mitchell Robinson is supposed to be resuming on-court activities following the NBA trade deadline. You would be one of the deepest and most top-heavy teams in the NBA. Dejounte Murray is a game changer, guys. I know there's a lot of people out there that say, Marshall, he's not that good. He didn't help the Atlanta Hawks. I just don't think him and Trae Young were all that good together. Murray is a guy that, yes, he needs the ball in his hands, but he can also I feel like play a little bit more off ball than people are anticipating. And what about when the Knicks against the Los Angeles Lakers, I know they were down Randall, I know they were down Anunoby, I know they were down Grimes and Mitchell Robinson, they just doubled Brunson every time he was up to 4. And then it resulted to the Knicks trying to score 4 on 3, and they could not do that. Imagine them doing that if they had Dejounte Murray on this team. No team could double Jalen Brunson. And I want to go back to the point because people will say, Marshall, Dejounte Murray's not a good three-point shooter. He's having the best year from downtown in his career, and he's knocking down 36% of his catch-and-shoot three-point tries on 3.6 a game. That's good enough for me, and I would love to see Jalen Brunson driving it and kicking it into Murray. What if Brunson drives weak side, defense collapse, you swing it to Murray, and he's got to put the ball on the deck one time and get to the rim with no rim protector. He also can pull up from 3 over almost 37% from 3 on 2.5 attempts. I do think that Murray would make the Knicks NBA Finals contenders. But he's not the only move out there, in my opinion, that would do so. There's other players that are on the NBA trade block right now that I think the Knicks could pursue, maybe have to give up less, and may even make the Knicks better. And I'm going to continue to say it. I've got Malcolm Brogdon as 1A and 1B as Marshall Green's top trade candidate and target for the New York Knicks. Malcolm Brogdon is exactly what they need. The Knicks need a guard that can create for themselves and create open, high, efficient, good looks for other players on this team. Brogdon will come off the bench, 6th man of the year last year, but he also could play alongside Jalen Brunson because he's 6'5", 230 pounds. He also would give the Knicks a sniper from deep. He is someone that is shooting 51.8% on catch and shoot threes this year. When you have guys like Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle, who through the last 2 years are some of the most double-teamed players in the NBA, when you got a guy that's 51.8% on catch and shoots in Brogdon, and almost 50% with Donte DiVincenzo, and OG Anunoby being one of the best corner three-point shooters in the league, that is going to equal easy, consistent looks. The Knicks need another offensive engine. And I think Brogdon makes a lot of sense for that. What have we seen when Brunson's off the floor? Not a lot of buckets. They lost almost a 26-point lead yesterday against the G League Memphis Grizzlies when Brunson sat down. He had to come back into the game, then rolled his ankle. Reports say he's fine. But what about the Lakers? You couldn't score in the last 7 minutes. I know there was no Julius Randle, but you need someone else. We saw what happened in Game 5 and Game 6 against the Miami Heat last year. Brunson had to play 48 minutes in Game 5 to win, and when he came out for 4 minutes in Game 6, the lead swapped from a 10-point lead for the Knicks to a 3-point lead to the Miami Heat. And I don't necessarily think it needs to be an upgrade in the starting lineup. Murray would obviously be the starter, and I think the Knicks would be better if they got Murray than Malcolm Brogdon, but I'm not ready to just take DiVincenzo out of the starting lineup. Because what he's done as a starter in 33 games this year for the Knicks, if you did a blind resume here, and I told you that there was a shooting guard in the NBA that as a starter averaged 16 points per game, 3 assists, 4 rebounds, a steal and a half, 42.5% from downtown, the most made threes in 2024, and 48% from 3, you'd be like, that guy's a starting 2 on a championship team, and he would be able to start for any team. That's how good Donte DiVincenzo has been, and I'm not so ready to make him a 6th man. That's why I think I favor a trade for Malcolm Brogdon a little bit more. I think the price would be a little bit cheaper, and Donte DiVincenzo would still continue to be your starting shooting guard. I'll ask you, though. I think there's a good case for Malcolm Brogdon. I think there's a really good case for Dejounte Murray. But if you were Leon Rose and you could only pull the trigger on one of these trades, who would it be? Type MB for Malcolm Brogdon. Type DM for Dejounte Murray. I want to hear from you guys down in the comment section. So make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. We're going to be live on the trade deadline day tomorrow, probably about 9 a.m. We're going to be going live up until the deadline. We'll be live for probably an hour after the deadline, breaking down every move that happens across the NBA, and then we'll be live for a watch party against the Dallas Mavericks. So subscribe and turn your notifications on and join us tomorrow for our trade deadline coverage. And remember, give me a follow over on social media. The handle is @MarshallGreen_ on Twitter, as well as it is on Instagram. Trying to up my social media presence, and I need your help. So give me a follow @MarshallGreen_ and sleep tight. I'm ready for NBA trade deadline day.